managing glucose, managing weight. All of these are chronic diseases. Fortunately, we can control them through our lifestyle. And I'm going to give you the tips about what you can do to actually stay healthy and live longer.
Before we even begin, I want to say thank you, Naveen. I'm grateful. I know how valuable your time is. And even though this is our third conversation, like every single one, I just want you to know how grateful I am.
First of all, Shani, I really, really enjoy talking to you. And the reason I love is that how selfless you are and how dedicated and sincere you are for your community and really helping your community learn. And every time we talk, your sincerity comes through right away. And that means everyone who's listening to it, please drop a line. Thanks, Shani, for bringing us together here and for all the hard work she does. So thank you, and my hats off to you, Shani.
I love it. And so if you are for the first time meeting Naveen, I want to introduce him to you. He's the CEO of a company called Viome, and he's done incredible things even prior to this. But he's leading the way when it comes to how we even start to think about health now and in the future. And two of the disruptive ideas that I think that we should start this conversation with are the fact that probably everything that we've learned about health until this point is potentially wrong. And aging is potentially wrong. So let's start there, Naveen. What could be the real possibility that disease and aging could be optional instead of inevitable?
So, let's just start with a couple of myths that we have created among ourselves as a society. And a lot of them are to basically take away our personal responsibility for what outcomes of our health, right? So, number one, we start is saying, you know what? My genes are my destiny. It's not me. It's the bad luck. It is the bad genes that I inherited. Oh, my mom and dad were obese, and my mom and dad had diabetes. My mom and dad had heart disease. My mom and dad high blood pressure. I am destined to have it. It's just the bad luck. I just got the, short end of the stick here, right? So it is my destiny. And what really is the fact is your DNA is not your destiny. And here is simple thing. Imagine your DNA don't change. You're born with them. And if you gain 200 pounds, your DNA is still the same. So don't blame them. They haven't changed anything yet, right? Mm-hmm. When you become diabetic, when you have heart disease, when you have blood pressure, your DNA doesn't change. What is constantly changing is your RNA, which is genes don't change, but gene expression is always changing. And most people get very confused about what is gene expression, what they express. So think about it. Every part of our body, from our hair to our skin, to our eyes, to our neurons, to our heart and kidney and lung, every single thing comes from the same DNA. Yet, I don't have the eyes growing on my finger and the nails growing on my head. Why is that? Same DNA. It is how they express. Some genes are overexpressed, some genes are underexpressed, some are not expressed. And that's how you can have a very different manifestation from the same genes. So it's not the genes, it's the gene expression. Think of your genes like an alphabet, and your gene expression is the story you're writing. You get to create any story you want from the same alphabet that you have, right? Less than 10% of the impact of your health comes from your gene. 90% of it actually comes from your lifestyle. Right? And unfortunately, there are few diseases. Less than 5% of all diseases in the world are genetic diseases. You're born with them, but they are called rare genetic diseases. And Shani, you know why they're called rare genetic diseases, right? Because they are rare. They are not. So they are very rare, but most of us really are suffering from what I call chronic diseases. Entrepreneurs who are listening to it, it's the depression, the anxiety, the ADHD, and the brain fog, right? Or it is about managing glucose, managing weight. All of these are chronic diseases. Fortunately, we can control them through our lifestyle. And I'm going to give you the tips about what you can do to actually stay healthy and live longer.
I love this because, so just to clarify, even if a person passes away, their DNA cannot
Change.
cannot, like, we can't tell from their DNA whether they're alive or dead.
That's correct. If you were to exhume someone's body 100 years after they're dead, you will find the same DNA. So DNA can't even tell you you're dead or alive, let alone are you healthier or sicker. That is a fundamental problem why genes are not your destiny. And this is really the first thing we need people to understand is that don't blame your ancestors for the sins you commit.
Basically, the quality of our life, the quality of our health, our biological age, which I'm sure you'll
Yep,
get
yep,
into, is
yep.
based on our environment and our lifestyle and our choices.
That's right. So it is the matter of choices that we make every day impact our biological age and aging and health, right? So remember, what is your chronological age? Chronological age is how many times Earth has gone around the sun since you were born. That's it. You can't change it. That is what you have. The Earth went around the sun, you got 1 year. Right?
Mhm.
But what you can control is how well your body is preserved when the earth was going around the sun, right? So that means your biological age is how well your cells, how well your biology, the underlying body is performing, right? So, for example, I am Shani now 65 years old, turned 65 about a month
Wow, you
ago.
don't look 65. I want that
Uh,
energy at 65.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is that means, I was born, since I was born, the earth went around the sun 65 times. Now, my biological age is now 33, right? So
Wow.
that's really
Wow.
interesting is my biological age is 33. What does it really mean? That means my body, my cells, my inflammation in my body, everything is performing as if I am 33 years old. So when I go up the stairs, I know most people walk one step at a time. I run up the stairs two steps at a time. That's the kind of energy you want when you are, it doesn't matter what age you are, right? So how do you get from 65 to 33, right? So there are 5 things you have to do to stay healthy. And I'm going to tell you all the secrets here. So they are no longer secrets here, right? Number 1 is nutrition. So like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they go in the order. So unless you can satisfy the first thing, the first layer, you can go to the second layer. So the number 1 layer is nutrition. Why does it matter, Shani? Even if you have a beautiful Ferrari, if you don't put the right fuel in your Ferrari, it doesn't matter. The fuel you put in the body is really matters. And here is the second myth I'm going to tell you. People have this idea that there are healthy foods and there are unhealthy foods. And it turns out there is no such thing as universal healthy food. There is no such thing as universal healthy supplement, right?
Wow.
Similarly,
I have a question on that. Is
please.
it and obviously we could figure out our biological age and what foods are good for us and stuff. This is what you do at Viome, right? Which is amazing. But like, are the foods that are good for us, do you find that they're the foods that people think make them feel better? Because some people may say, oh, I feel better when I eat avocado. Is that
Yeah.
usually good for them? Or sometimes the results go against how they feel?
The body is always sending the signals to you. And sometimes you could do trial and error and say, I feel good. But the best you can do is the only way to know what's good or bad is to measure something. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it, right? So now, what we do at Viome is, and again, I don't want this to be information about Viome. I'm just trying to want to provide information so people know what happens here, right? So the reason I'm able to reduce my biological age is, so there is a test, and I think I have it right here. So, Shani, this is called full body intelligence, right? The first thing this is a mission we started 8 years ago. Imagine a world where illness is optional. There was no doubt. On day 1, that's what we were going to do. Inside that, there are 3 tests: your saliva, stool, and blood. So what you do is you get this test, you give us a spit of your saliva, finger prick blood at home. So you drop 4 drops of your blood in the tube, and then you give us a touch of your stool, and you send it to us in a prepaid envelope. 10 days later, you get back on your app what's happening in your body. So we tell you your biological age, your cognitive health, your heart health, your gut health, your oral health. And then if you want to go further down into functions, we tell you your digestive efficiency, your metabolic health. We can give you your gum health, your teeth health. And if you want to be really nerdy, we can give you your sulfide production, your uric acid production. We can give you your LPS. You can give you flagellar assembly, the ammonia production, and we go on and on and on. But then we tell you, hey, don't eat spinach or kale because they are very high in oxalates, and your oxalates are not being metabolized. They're going to turn into a kidney stone, right? Or don't, right? Don't eat broccoli right now because broccoli contains very high amount of sulfate, and your sulfide production is very high already. Is going to cause a lot of inflammation in your body, right? But you can eat red meat if you want, even though everyone thinks red meat is bad for you. I am not a preacher. I'm a vegetarian. But the point is, if you want to eat red meat, you can eat red meat because the choline in the red meat, your microbes are not converting that into TMA, which is trimethylamine. Interestingly, the trimethylamine goes into your blood, and your liver uses an enzyme called FMO3. We notice that your FMO3 is not overly expressed. That means it's not going to convert TMA into TMAO, and TMAO is what causes plaque in your arteries. So if we know the enzyme FMO3 can be increased production if you have poor oral health. So if you have a P. gingivalis in the mouth and it's producing ginger pain, or if you take vitamin B, that increases the production of FMO3. So imagine, I can tell you don't eat red meat, but when you're eating red meat, don't take vitamin B. And by the way, make sure that your oral health is good, or else you're going to get heart disease, right? So very precisely, we tell you what foods to eat and why, what foods not to eat and why. And then we go a step further, Shani. We say, based on everything we notice, you need 22 milligram of lycopene every day. Make sure you take 18 milligram of elderberry every day. Make sure you take 79 milligram of amylase every day. And we go through every vitamin, minerals, herbs, digestive enzyme, amino acids, and we custom make that powder, put them in a capsule, and ship it to you every month. So there is no pre-made stuff. Everything we do is custom made for you every month. So this is mine. Now, if you notice here, not only it has name, it says,
oh, that's cool.
It says manufactured on, doesn't say expires on. Notice the date on it. It was made for me 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Right? So every month I get new one made just for me. Then I get my gut probiotics and prebiotics, my gut formula made just for me.
Can I put that in water or?
Absolutely. Here's my water.
I know. By the way, our COO is probably going to make us all do this.
Yeah. Oh my God. So literally, I put this in the powder, take it. And here's another part. These are my oral lozenges, right? Look at my, made just for me. These are oral lozenges I take once a day before sleeping. And this is the one that is really a game changer. A personalized toothpaste for morning and evening made for you. Right. So morning toothpaste removes the plaque and reduces the gum inflammation on contact. So today the toothpaste, when you brush, it has sand. It has silica. You scrub your plaque. This thing contains two ingredients, MSM and STPP. MSM penetrates the biofilm. STPP removes the glue between the enamel and the biofilm. And as you're brushing, the plaque just comes right out. Wow. And your gums are no longer inflamed. In the evening, it contains all the postbiotics, all the enzymes, essential oils. And when you brush, you can swallow it and it becomes your supplement.
That I've never even heard of personalized toothpaste. And I'm someone that I love that.
Here, so this is what it looks like. VRX, my biotics, and here's how it opens. You hold it and literally crack it, and that's your toothpaste.
Oh wow, that's so cool. And there's already people asking where do I get this? So we'll put the website, and we'll probably maybe even have our own link or something, Naveen, because my audience loves this. And I think this is so important. Just the major lesson that we were taught as kids, this is the healthy diet. when the
Yes,
healthy diet could really not be the best diet for you and making you feel bad or no
that's right.
energy. And this is complete personalized nutrition.
And Shani, more than that, it's not just personalized and it's same for you for rest of your life. Every 6 months, your body and your gut microbiome and your oral microbiome change when you change your diet. Guess what? Now the foods that were good for you may or may no longer be good for you, and the foods that were not good for you can actually be good for you. So your body is constantly adapting and changing, and you need to constantly adapt and change the foods, or else it's like people say, how often do I have to change and test? And I say, how often do you exercise? Well, you exercise once a year, or you exercise more than once a year.
You're like, how often do you change your underwear?
Oh God, I wasn't going to say that. Some people say never.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. So before we go to the second tip, there's a
Yeah,
question that does
yeah.
your blood type affect your diet?
No, and the answer again, remember, just like your genes, does your blood type change? You're born with that blood type. Are you
Uh,
going to eat the same applesauce that you ate when you were a baby and say the same food is good for you? So if your blood type is not changing, but your body is always changing, think about it. Your diet when you're 5 years old or 1 year old cannot be the same when you're 75 or 65, right? So your body, your gut microbiome, your oral microbiome, your inflammation in your body, your cellular health, everything is changing. So what we do is we look at RNA, your gene expression in your blood. What are we measuring there? Your mitochondria. We're measuring all of your inflammation, like cytokines. We're measuring every gene that's expressed. We're looking at your gut microbial activity in your stool. We're looking at saliva, all the oral microbial activity. And then we combine and use AI. And Shani, we have now analyzed close to 1 million samples. We have now used 100 quadrillion biological data point, and we now are able, we published a paper in the American Journal of Lifestyle Nutrition, a peer-reviewed thing that shows people who follow our food and take our supplements and oral lozenges and toothpaste, in 6 months, their depression came down by 49%.
wow.
Their anxiety went down by 42%. IBS, most women and men suffer from stomach ache, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, down by 49.8% in 6 months.
Wow.
Diabetes, HbA1c down by 30% in 6 months. And these are peer reviewed journal that we published our results. We also published randomized placebo-controlled trial results with very similar results for depression, IBS, and diabetes. So this is not something, hey, I think it kind of works. We actually have proof and we have published the studies that you can go and check it out.
I love this. And two more quick questions, then we'll go to
Yeah,
the second because
yeah,
people are
yeah.
already going to the website, Naveen. One person wants to know, does a toothpaste help mineralize their teeth?
Yes, answer is yes. Not only it helps you mineralize and put the enamel, it protects it. So remember, our body is like a donut. It is a tube that goes through us, and the tube needs to stay very tight, right? So on the top of the tube is our mouth, on the bottom of the tube. So we now analyzing from the top of the tube, bottom of the tube, and everything around the tube, your blood. What happens is when you have an inflammation in your gum, suddenly the barrier is broken, just like a leaky gut. Now you have leaky gums. So bacteria now can go into your blood, cause a constant inflammation. And by the way, the oral health now is shown to cause diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer, and many types of cancer. Or your
Wow.
sexual health. Remember, nitric oxide is produced by your microbiome. So when you don't have the oral health, you don't get the nitric oxide. That actually improves your veins dilation. And that means now your heart health is no longer good and your sexual health is no longer good because the blood is not flowing in the right places.
And they don't want that.
Nobody wants that, do they?
Because then after that, the mental health is no longer going to be good because they'll be getting a divorce. So,
Well,
so I don't see the toothpaste. Where is it on the website? We'll get to all of that.
yeah, actually, just go to viome.com, V as in Victor, IOME.com, and you'll be able to order the test. and all of the things together. So you can go to the full body solution and you can
Okay.
get everything together, or you can order a test, and after you get your results, then you can order everything else as well after.
And we'll be putting the links in the description and everything as well. And on Treya's moderating, she'll put the links in the
All
chat.
right,
So
Shani,
what's
so
the,
this is okay. Second now. So
yeah.
first thing, nutrition. Once you get the nutrition right, the number two is stress, the stress management. And here is why. When your body is under stress, it goes into fight or flight response. Now, let me explain to people what that is. How we evolved when we were living in savannas of Africa, when we were being chased by a tiger, our body was under stress, right? So stress is good. If body did not go under stress, you wouldn't be born, because your ancestor would have been all got wiped out. So stress causes a fight or flight response. And at that time, the body says, hey, I'm going to shut down what it considered non-essential system. I'm going to shut down your digestive system. Why? You're going to be lunch for someone else. Don't worry about digesting your food, right? And two things happen. You became lunch for someone else, or you survived. Either way, your stress went away. So when you are no longer stressed, you can start digesting now again. When you are stressed, your immune system shuts down. And that's the reason people who are stressed always get sick more often, right? So what do we do now? People say, before we eat, let's do some gratitude. Let's do some prayer. Why is it? So you can go from the sympathetic mode, fight or flight response, into the parasympathetic mode. So you are relaxed. And so your digestive system is now starting to work. But when you come back from work, your boss is stresses you out. You go home, your spouse is stressing you out, and you're sitting in front of TV and cursing and eating. Nothing. That nutrition is useless, because you're stressed. Your body is not digesting anything food, and no longer people get very sick, right? So what do you need to do? Get rid of the stress. Leave the job that's stressing you out. Leave the spouse that's stressing you out. And by the way, do some meditation. Find a way to live in calm. And I can tell you a lot of the Eastern philosophy that I use personally. I have come to believe there are only two types of problems in the world. Things that are in my control and the things that are not in my control. So if things are not in my control, I say it is what it is and it will be what will be. I just don't worry about it. If the things are in my control, I say, you know what? I'm the best. I'm doing the best I possibly can. And it is what it is, and it will be what will be. Right? And that's really is. So you learn to really accept that life is going to have ups and downs, and you essentially learn to live with it. Right? So that's number two.
Okay, so that's number two. And for entrepreneurs, so just your advice to them, because the stress there could be even, there's a lot of pressure, and you're extremely successful. So you've walked the walk, right? And so you just focus on what you can control, even on a down period.
So here's basically, as Shani, you and I have talked about in the past, right? Life of an entrepreneur needs to be that you need to be full of life. You need to be alive. And the only way we know you're alive is you have a heartbeat. What does a heartbeat look like? It goes up and down and up and down. When it is smooth, you're dead. So anytime an entrepreneur finds themselves living a smooth life, you've chosen to live a life of a dead person, right?
Yeah.
These things tell you you're still alive. When you are down, all you have to do is hunker down and know that the next beat is going to be up. But here's the most important lessons of life. When you are on top of that beat, never become too arrogant, because always remember the winter is coming and winter always comes.
I love it. I love it. So it's really being kind of forward thinking and preparing for those winters in advance.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
So and expecting them and accepting them. So you expect it is going to happen and you accept when it happens, so you're not surprised.
So what's number three?
Number three is exercise. And here is the interesting one. No, I don't suggest you need to be a gym rat. I don't want to be spent 2 hours in a gym. Really, what human body needs is simple, fast walk to get your heart rate a little bit up. Every single day, bar none, I walk 4 or 5 miles. I go for an hour and 10 minutes walk. and I walk fast. I go uphill and I do that. And twice a week, if you can do something that is a muscle strength training, and you don't need to lift weights. I do push-ups, I do squats, I do lunges, I do basically using my body weight, things that I'm doing. So even if I'm traveling, I can find 5 minutes in my room just before I'm getting ready, and I go simply do push-ups, do some bunch of squats, do some lunges, and I'm out, right? But doing some strength training gets, as you get older, you want to keep your muscles, because that is what causes you to have a lot of issues when you age, when you don't have the good muscles, right? So that's really is the key in terms of exercise. It's getting the walk, make sure you're moving. Making sure you're getting a good 4 miles of walk. And if you can do uphill and walk fast, that's really all you need. And twice a week, if you can get some body weight exercise.
Do you listen to anything when you walk? That's just me being curious.
And answer is, Shani, absolutely yes. I read about 4 books a month, and I basically am a guy who gets into audible, and I listen at 2x the speed now. I've been really good at it, and I can get a book done over the weekend.
Well, other than the youth formula, which we'll get into in a second,
Yeah.
what's a book that really has stood out for you?
I mean, honest to God, I read book in every subject. I mean, I just finished reading the Michio Kaku book on quantum supremacy. I just read the Nexus book from Yuval Harari. There's his new book after Homo Deus that he did. Really, I have listened to the books on every possible subjects. I'm the guy you would listen to the motivational books. I'm going to listen to the quantum theory books, and I'm listening to the things like Beyond Biocentrism about does the world really exist, or we create the world in our own mind.
I love it. I love it.
But I read all types of books in every subject, because to me, the more you learn about different types of things, it allows you to connect the dots and say, how does it impact in what I'm doing?
I love that. And so what are the last two, Naveen?
I just told you the last 2 books were Nexus from Yuval Harari.
So the last 2 tips. Yeah.
Okay. The last 2 things are sleep. So sleep is really, really important. And I want to take out another myth, the myth that everyone needs to get 8-9 hours of sleep. A complete myth. Like many things in life, Shani, it is the quality that matters, not the quantity. So guys,
wait, say that again, because I know there's somebody on the call that is always telling me I need to get like 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So it's not the quantity. Many things in life you can imagine. It is not the quantity, it is the quality that matters, right? So what I do is you need to measure how much of REM sleep you're getting and how much of deep sleep you're getting. So if you can get 1.5 hours to 2 hours of REM sleep, and you can get hour and 15 minutes to 1.5 hours deep sleep, that is really what you need. So I use my Aura Ring. I have 8 sleep mattress. By the way, anybody who can afford it, you should get 8 sleep mattress. So interesting thing is, it not only measures my REM sleep, deep sleep, my heart rate variability, it also changes the temperature as I go into the sleep. When I get into the bed, I like it a little warm. And as I go sleep, I want it to get cold so I can stay in the sleep. Right. So it changes the temperature as I go into the REM sleep, as I go into the deep sleep, and as I'm waking up, it starts to warm up again. Right. So it really adjusts the temperature. And by the way, it keeps your spouse temperature different from yours. So if she wants a different temperature, we used to fight all the time on thermostat, right? Now, great. You want it cold? Go make it as cold as you want.
That's fun. Who wants it cold? You or her?
She likes it cold. I like it warm when I go to bed.
Oh my gosh. I would be the cold person. I wanted like a Antarctica.
Yeah, I know. And I am like, I send me to BVI for all I care. I love
That's funny. And so it's interesting. So you do, would you advise people track their sleep? Because a lot of people are
100%. Every single one should track sleep, because it is the number one thing. And if you guys don't believe me, go read a book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. And basically they have done all the research that shows every single disease is actually can be connected to your sleep. So when you don't get enough REM sleep or deep sleep, you really mess up your body. Right.
I love that. And
Right.
so we have nutrition, we have stress reduction or like
Yeah.
control of stress,
Yeah.
we have exercise, sleep. What's the last one?
Purpose and community. So
Mm.
people who live a life of purpose tend to live 10 to 15 years longer than the people who have no purpose in life, right? As we have talked about it. Find something that you're willing to die for and then live for it, right? Every single thing. Find your purpose in life. So when you wake up at 4 a.m., just like I do, then you need to jump out of the bed. And if you're not jumping out of the bed when you wake up, quit what you're doing. So I'm the guy who tell you quit everything. If you're not jumping out of the bed when you wake up, quit your job. It's not your calling, because when you find your calling, you will not be lying in the bed.
How do people find their calling? Like there's so many people that are like, oh, I've tried certain things, or I don't know what my purpose is, or they'll just settle for something that they're
Yeah,
kind of excited about.
yeah. So I think the passion. People say I am passionate about it. Right? Passion is for hobbies, guys. Passion is not for building a company. Passion is obsession. Unless you have true obsession to solve the problem, you're not going to be a great entrepreneur. Passion is for hobbies. Passion is for normal human beings. Passion is for losers. The winners have obsession, not obsession for a person, not obsession
Mm.
for things, obsession to solve a problem. So, what is it that you are willing to dedicate your life to? As I said, what are you willing to die for and then live for it? What is it that if you had everything in your life, billions of dollars, the loving family, what would you do? And if you do that today, you will get everything you want. So here's the trick. Find something that will help billion people live a better life. You can create $100 billion company, but you never wake up in the morning and say, what should I do to create $100 billion company? Making money is a byproduct of doing things that improve other people's lives. It's that simple. Making money is a byproduct. It is not a goal. It's not a destiny. It is a byproduct. Making money is like having an orgasm. If you focus on it, you're never going to get it. You have to learn to enjoy the process.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I think that's I mean, it's a beautiful
You're
reminder.
blushing. Shani, you can't even get the word out. You're blushing. When you talk about orgasm, you're like, ah, yeah, yeah.
He caught me by surprise. And we're talking to someone who's walked the walk. Okay. He has proven himself in this.